Hey, good evening. Let me turn that down. All right, there we go. Hey, good evening. Thank you for joining us on the Thursday Night Hockey Show. As always, I'm Dave Valente, by the way, and as always, I'm joined by Travis Aurednik. How you doing, sir?
I exist.
You exist. You didn't get yeeted last week.
Yeah, oh, dude. Are we going straight into that?
Let's plug the store, man. So you run the Deep End Antiques in Beckley, West Virginia. Tell us about it.
I do own an antique store that is full of spiders. Don't tell any old ladies, though, they're scared. So I have close to 60 tarantulas in my office now. It's pretty cool. Yeah. We carry everything from current issue military equipment all the way back to Civil War era stuff. Just about any type of glassware you can imagine, from Pyrex to Fostoria. A lot of West Virginia made glass, Fenton, Blanco, things along those lines. Rainbow, Huntington, Dunbar, Kanawha. West Virginia made all the cool glass.
Yeah.
Imperial was cool. It wasn't made in West Virginia, it was made in Ohio. Payton City's in Ohio. Anyway, Ohio sucks. Yeah, we got a bunch of cool stuff, man. You can follow us on Facebook, the link below. Even if you're not in the area, come by and check us out.
So tell us about your adventure last week. We missed you on the show last week.
So last week, I texted Dave at 5-ish, and I said, hey, bro, I am currently indisposed. I don't think I'm going to make it home in time to hit you at the start of the show. Maybe about halfway through, I can hop in. And he said, okay. And the reason that was said was because I had a pretty reasonably venomous tarantula loose that I was chasing around, and I finally got it in a box, in another box, in another box, with a lot of things on top to weigh it down. And I called my buddy James, and James is an absolute godsend, especially for this situation. And he came and bailed me out. I needed rescued, and he was my knight in shining armor.
Excellent. Yeah. I've got a great spider story, and it's actually a tarantula as well. My brother is a amateur archaeologist, so he would go to remote parts of New Mexico when I was a teenager with some friends, and they would go hunt for arrowheads and things, and they go out to all kinds of weird places. Like one of the places they went to, and the place they went to at this point was the Trinity site in New Mexico. It's only open like 1 or 2 days a year. And it's where they did the first nuclear test. The ground there is
full of trinite.
Trinitite is called what it's
Trinitite,
called.
yeah.
It's the sand is blasted into glass. So
and it's worth a ton of money.
Yeah.
That stuff sells for like $50 a gram right now.
Which is why that site's only open like 1 day a year.
Yeah.
So, they went out and checked it out, and they went on to another place to hunt for arrowheads. And he found a large brown tarantula. I mean, this thing was, it was about that big, around the legs. He showed it to me. Now, I hate spiders. I've had run-ins with spiders all my life. With the house we moved into in Greensboro, North Carolina, was the guy that rented it to us was an entomologist at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro.
That's sick.
Problem is, he liked to bring home his work, and so
it's even better. This is like a best case scenario.
Not really, because one day my brother's mowing the front lawn, and he falls like he's been shot, and he's got these just rashes just forming all over his body. In that tree were these little bugs that you can only find in South America. They're like little green caterpillars with spikes on them, and on the spikes, the little drop of venom is there, and it comes into contact with the skin, and your skin immediately rashes up. So I mean,
I want some.
No,
give me the address. Yeah, caterpillar pickings.
Yeah, Linwood Drive in just south of Greensboro, North Carolina. But anyway, I was running through the woods behind the house, and we cut this, little pathway to go across, go through this wooded area. And one day I'm running, and all of a sudden I do a baseball slide, because across the path is this large web, and in this web is this spider that I don't know if it was the way the sun hit it or what, but it looked like it was all the colors of the rainbow. It was shimmering. And
I don't know what that is.
I beat the path back to the house, and first thing we do is call the university. The university comes out. They bring in, their entomology team comes out because this guy rented us the house while he was on sabbatical. And they come out. They collect the spider. It's some African spider that shouldn't be in the United States. So this
I have
guy's
a lot of those.
This guy's bringing in invasive species. Like this is something you can't do as a entomologist. You should know that you can't bring in species like this. In the woods, they found carcasses of cats that have been killed by the spider, which leads to my story, my main story. So my brother shows me the tarantula. He stays on the other side of the house from me. I was like, dude, just keep that thing on this side of the house. I don't want to deal with it. He's like, no, dude, I got it in the box. We're good to go. And I was like, okay, cool. So the next morning, I'm asleep. It's Sunday morning. I've been out partying the night before, and my cat is on my chest. Now I slept on a futon that folded. It was like an old couch that kind of folded out onto the floor. Cat is on my chest and it's pawing down at my side. And it woke me up and I was like, what are you doing, cat? And I looked down at my side and that spider is on the bed with me. 3 inches from me. I grabbed this shoe that is right next to me. It's basically a boot. And I'm bringing it. I'm about to just rain holy hell upon this spider. And one thought stopped me in the middle of this destruction, and that was, that stain will never come out of this bed.
Wow. I was thinking, Dave finally realized the spider didn't want to be in this situation. It was just looking for warmth, like something, and then you're just like, and it would have ruined the bed.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
It would ruin the bed. And so I managed to capture it. I had this old plastic baseball helmet that I got from a minor league team like 10 years before. And I managed to get the spider into it, and it's like trying to climb up towards my hand, and I'm like, just moving it so it slides back down to the other side of the helmet. And I get it back to that box, and I put it on there. My brother had this massive millstone that he found in one, archaeology thing that he was doing. And I just dropped it on top of the box. I was like, I don't care if it killed the spider or just get it away from me.
So let me ask you, what shade of brown was this spider?
I looked it up. It's like a standard Southwest.
Like it's just
brown.
Probably a Texan.
Yeah, it was a
Texan brown. Yeah.
Brown. And
I just paid $45
they're not poisonous.
I mean,
well, it's like if
they're
they
mildly venomous. It's like a bee sting.
Yeah, it's like a bee sting. So, I mean, it wasn't going to kill me.
Fun fact about tarantulas. They were found on 6 continents. And the really interesting thing is to be classified as a tarantula and not just a giant hairy spider is it does have to be venomous. The more you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't want to fool with that thing because it was.
Yeah, I just paid. Dude, I would have paid like $100 for a full grown, especially if it was a female. I mean, well, it's wild caught, so I probably wouldn't. But
I mean, yeah,
if it was captive bred, I would have.
Yeah, they're all over the place out there. So I mean, it's not like a big thing. What game you watching tonight?
I have the St. Louis Montreal game for some reason.
St. Louis Montreal.
Win.
I am watching Buffalo and Ottawa. Craig Anderson is playing back in Ottawa for the first time since leaving the organization. So we'll see how that goes.
Also, before we get off the topic of spiders too far, anybody watching this, they are trying to steal our hobby. They are actually taking it away from us. If we let them, the New America Competes Act features a little thing that was formerly called the Lacey Act that somehow got roped into this. That will make just about every pet except for cats and dogs, and including some species of cats and dogs, illegal. Illegal to import, illegal to cross state lines. So if you have an iguana that needs to go to the vet and you live right next to the state line, if you take it across the state line, you are committing a crime and the DNR will come after you. All of my tarantulas will be deemed illegal almost for sure. To some degree, maybe if I move out of state, I won't be able to take them. I won't be able to order anything offline for them. Basically, they're trying to put out thousands of small American businesses that are based around non-invasive exotic pets completely out of business and take away tens of thousands of people like me's livelihood. So, if you haven't checked into it, USA ARC, ARK, is the big organization that's kind of fighting this bill. It goes back to Senate to vote, I think Monday, I believe. So if you get a chance to write your senator, if you don't have me added as a friend on Facebook, all my stuff's public. I keep making the same post in the comments. There's a sample letter. You don't even have to put anything else on it. It takes about 5 minutes to email both of your senators, no matter what state you're in. Copy, paste. Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. And, it's amazing to think, a lot of people say, well, I don't go out of state for my pet care or anything like that. Like for me, I have to, like my local vet, and then, it's just for a cat. But I am, in north of Martinsburg, West Virginia. The only vets that we really have available to us are either in Hagerstown or down in Winchester. So I take my cat to Hagerstown. So I mean, just that mere act would, for other types of pets, and I have friends that have exotics of all kinds, like Dr. Risa Willis has, just all kinds of lizards and so I mean it. I don't understand why they're going after exotic pets.
Oh, I know why. I know exactly why.
Why is that?
Because corporate pet companies, Petco, PetSmart, all those companies, your exotic pet stores usually stock dog and cat food, and they're trying to put them out of business by taking away their primary source of income. So then you're forced to go to the corporations to buy animal food. It's everything in America these days is either it's all like how big can we make the corporations and how fast can we put small businesses out of business so we control everything. Yep. My store has been a victim of that. We used to take some payments over PayPal for people that couldn't come in, and this new thing they've done to where you have to report up to $600. I can't report that on my store taxes. I have to do a separate 1099, and then I'm listed as a multi-business owner, which ups my taxes by close to 20% because I'm not a corporation that's operating in more than 3 states. So if I take $601 next year, I'm going to lose out on, $10,000 in taxes because I tried to help a customer by taking payment in a form that wasn't their card.
Oh my goodness!
And that's just to victimize anybody that's like, you make earrings and you sell them on the side and you take payment over PayPal or anything along those lines. They're just trying to close the box as much as possible to make sure that the corporations get their cut of business so you can't even shop small. I mean, it's, I figure for the next 5 years, they will actually tax me out of business. And the sad thing is, it doesn't matter how much money I make. Like, I could be raking in $500,000 a year, and even at $500,000, they would be taking close to $200,000 of it. So, and like, they don't really even let you write off purchases, like where my business is buy and resell. The amount of paperwork that I would have to make every time I go to a flea market or a yard sale and buy something to put in my store, even auctions, I can't really even write it off without 17 signed documents from the seller and the buyer, and I have to have this receipt and that receipt, and why am I in this state? I have to fill out this form, and then I'm out of state, so now I'm doing interstate travel and I'm working over here, so I'm going to have to pay higher taxes because that's not my state of residency. So, they're trying to put us out. It's okay. I'll just have to go work for Walmart or something, I guess.
Yeah. We'll all work. Well, actually, technically we all do work for Walmart now. If you ever go to a Walmart, you work for Walmart.
Yeah, self-checkouts.
Self-checkouts. You're competing with other Walmart employees, for the same products. I've almost been run over like 4 or 5 times by those big ass carts they roll around to fill the online orders. We all work from Walmart. All right, so let's talk about scores going into tonight's games. Capitals and Flyers are underway for 13:05 of the first at 0-0. Red Wings lead early on the Rangers 1-0 at 15:50. Troy Stetcher got a goal at 2:18 of the first. The Maple Leafs are leading the Penguins 1-0. Austin Matthews' 33rd goal of the season at 20 seconds. Didn't even waste any time.
He's
Your
good.
game, yeah. Well, your game, the Blues and Canadiens still 0-0, 15-19 in the first, and the Sabres just killed off a power play. Oh, good lord. Okay. Looks like the Sabres going to the power play. Looks like Jeff Skinner drew a high sticking penalty. But it's still 0-0 with 14:11 left in the first period. Later games, we've got Boston, the Islanders at 7:30, Kraken and the Jets at 8 o'clock. We'll talk about that in just a moment. The Blue Jackets and the Blackhawks are at 8:30. Ducks and Oilers are at 9, and the Sharks are hosting the Canucks at 10:30. Late game tonight. So the big news out of these games is that tonight the Seattle Kraken will be in Winnipeg to host to play the Jets for the first time in history. An all African American broadcast team will be broadcasting this game as the radio guy for the Seattle Kraken, Everett Fitzhugh, is moving up to the main booth because John Forsland did the TNT game last night. He's moving up to the broadcast booth and we'll be calling with JT Brown. So it's the first time the entire broadcast booth is going to be African American. It's not lost that it is Black History Month, and hockey is, I believe, the last major, the four major sports to have this happen. So about time. I'm not going to let the symbolism be lost on it, but I'm glad it's happening. I've heard Everett Fitzhugh's games. He's good. JT Brown's is good. When I've listened to seen the Kraken games, that his call is good. So I'm looking forward to at least checking out a bit of that game.
Yeah, JT Brown is so memeable whenever you listen to him.
Yeah,
I think that my favorite moment in a actual broadcast was JT Brown going, "Oh wow." Somebody got hit really hard and he just didn't know what to say, and he just went, "Oh wow." And I laughed for like a solid 5 minutes, man.
JT Brown comes from very non-traditional hockey background. He was from High Point, North Carolina, which I don't think High Point's ever even had a minor league team there. It's definitely non-traditional hockey market. I don't know the rest of his story, but he had a cup of coffee in the in the NHL and now is a color commentator and working for the Kraken. But because I lived by High Point, North Carolina, as part of the triad area of North Carolina, Greensboro, High Point, and Winston-Salem. So.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. Hey, happy 50th birthday to our favorite hockey player. Jaromir Jagr turned 50 this week.
Oh, you said our favorite hockey player, and I was waiting for a Tom Wilson joke.
No.
I was about to say, dude, he's not that close to death, but good try.
No, Tom Wilson will never die, man.
As long as there's hate.
Yeah.
In my heart, Tom Wilson will be alive.
He will live forever.
I met the nicest guy the other day. I was buying stuff for the store, and he's like, "Is that an Arizona hat?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've been wearing it for forever." And he's like, "Why?" And as soon as he said that, I knew that he knew something about hockey. I told him, I was like, "I'm a big Arizona guy." He's like, "Oh, yeah." And then he pulls up his pants leg, and he has a Capitals tattoo. And I was like, "All right, cool." He said, "Who's your favorite player?" I said, "They're not on the Coyotes." I said, "I'm a big Andrei Svechnikov guy. I really like Kirill Kaprizov." Hey, go for Montreal.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, against Bennington too.
We'll have to talk about Bennington.
Yeah, and he said, "Oh yeah, mine's Tom Wilson." I was like,
"Get out."
You were doing great until you said that, dude. Can you just say Ovechkin or Backstrom or somebody that I don't hate like passionately?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
anyway. Jagr's 50 over the hill.
He may be, but he's still playing professional hockey. I mean, he plays only the home games for Kladno, but which is the team that he owns in the Czech league.
Yeah,
But
how weird is that?
you're the owner, and you get to play. I
You're
mean,
the owner and you play and you only play home games.
well, I mean, really, it makes sense that because he's such a big draw that he doesn't want to help the other teams.
That's fair. Yeah.
You play their home games. Everyone wants to come see you play, and draw people to your games. I The Athletic did a tremendous article on him turning 50. People were sending messages. Mario Lemieux. Uh, so the Pittsburgh Penguins desperately want to get Jaromir Jagr back over so they can retire his number. There was a plan to get the 90 both the 91 Cup champions and the 92 Cup champions together for a night where they would then retire Yager's number. But because he's still playing, he can't come over and do the retirement ceremony because they've got to wait for him to actually retire from the Czech league to be able to come in and do his retirement ceremony.
That's really cool, though. Like,
he still owns a house in Pittsburgh, but he's never there.
well, yeah, he's in Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, banging models. So I mean, I don't.
Yeah, they're snapping selfies to shame him.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I feel great shame.
The best moment of cancel culture, right there.
That is right, man. Yeah. The one of the nice things is that the Czech government issued a special $50 or 50 whatever their currency is banknote with Yager on one side, and then the square that they celebrated the 1998 Olympic win in. So, Yager's a member of the Triple Gold Club. He's won the World Championship, the gold medal, and Olympic gold medal, and the Stanley Cup. So he's the man. I mean,
he's indisputably one of the best all time.
Yeah. I mean, his game was, there were times where he, you could tell he kind of got tired of North American hockey, and he did this stint in the KHL, and then came back and realized how much he liked being over in the United States, and did another stint and played for like 90% of the teams in the league over a 5-year period. But it was productive everywhere he went. That's the great thing about Yager. He never really fell off.
I wish he'd come back and play for Arizona. How cool would that be?
Yeah, I would take him on the Sabres anytime. Because he always killed the Sabres. Every time we played the Sabres,
Dave, everybody killed the Sabres.
Even during their good teams, even with Hasek, man. I mean, especially with Hasek, that was the one dude that really just owned Dominic Hasek was Yager.
He owned every goalie that he ever played with. He destroyed.
Yeah, but let's see. My Sabres revealed their 389th jersey this time for the Heritage Classic. It's not really anything special.
It's a Sabres away jersey.
Yeah, it's basically a white jersey that has.
If you made the changes for that jersey from the Coyotes away jersey, like if you made those same changes to ours, like one patch is different, they changed it wouldn't even make the news.
Yeah, I'm hoping at some point so the shoulder patch is the buffalo with the word Sabres written in it. It's kind of cool little alternate patch logo. I'm hoping at some point that gets featured as the main logo on a jersey.
That would be cool.
Yeah, there are some concepts. One of my favorite websites when it comes to hockey is a site called Aesthetics, aesthetics.com. They they break like the jersey releases. They a lot of times they get stuff sent to them that a new jersey is going to drop, or some like the Heritage Classic jersey that just dropped was actually leaked online first, and then they brought it out, but
it wasn't a good leak.
Yeah, I'm not really hyped to get that jersey.
It's like the lowest effort concept jersey I've ever seen.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't get why they waited until a month before the game to reveal these jerseys. Like, if you wanted to sell these jerseys, you should have released them like in November so that it gets people to get them for, kids for Christmas and things like that. They completely missed this great shopping period that we have in the middle of a season. Uh, by releasing these in February. Like I don't get why they waited so long to release these jerseys. In fact, Toronto still hasn't dropped their jersey. It was supposed to drop today. I don't know. Maybe they did it, right before the game or something. But
Toronto doesn't need any help selling jerseys, though. That's the thing with Toronto. Like, you put out a new Toronto jersey, it's ball.
well, I mean, that was the thing with the Sabres, and that was why we saw so many uniform changes over the last few years, basically just to kind of make us forget that we were watching the Sabres. They would, they've dropped so many jerseys in the last 5 years, um, and they're going to go back with the old red and black goat head jersey next season.
That will be exciting.
I'm looking forward to it. I do kind of wish they gave it the blue and gold treatment, but like they did with the alternate reverse retro jersey, they put the old goat head with the blue and gold instead of red and black. But you know, I'm okay. I, I'm looking forward to that jersey. But I they could skate out there naked. I just want a winning damn hockey team. I don't care anymore about the jerseys. Like
I saw the sickest concept jersey I've ever seen, and supposedly it's going to be Florida's alternate next year.
ooh,
It's the Panther head,
uh-huh.
and like, you know how neon has that like color that's between pink and red?
Yeah, kind of a coral.
Yeah, that with like a turquoise blue, a neon Panther head, like the standard one, with pink neon palm trees on the shoulders.
Ooh.
If they make that the jersey, I will be the first one in line to buy an Adidas Authentic.
Well, they
And I
did.
don't even like the Panthers.
Yeah, well, they did indicate that they're going to do the reverse retro next season, so that's coming back.
Let's just hope it's not the Leaping Cat. The Leaping Cat never needs to come back.
No, it doesn't. I mean, that's just
It was a high school jersey. It was
yeah.
a bad one. It was like the actual team that we wanted to do was copyrighted, so this is the next closest thing we could get.
It's funny because Florida, when they came into the league, they were Wayne Huizenga was the owner of the team, and he was the guy that made all of his money off of Blockbuster Video, and his want was to name the team the Florida Blockbusters. And there was this kind of cool logo of a dude with a hard hat on with a sledgehammer. And it was the original colors were supposed to be kind of that bright blue and gold of the old Blockbuster Video logo, and the NHL nixed it. And we got the Panthers, which would have been cool, but they just missed it on the cat.
Yeah, I mean, it was the 90s where everything was like overdone anyway.
Yeah.
Like every jersey was a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Kachina.
Yeah, no, before the Kachina.
Yeah.
Our alternate jersey, the cactus jersey, the one that I love so much.
Yeah.
Like, I love it in the worst kind of way. It's that ugly that it's pretty. That was the 90s. That was what everybody went for. And sometimes they miss the mark. I feel like Buffalo hit it. I'll tell you who really missed it, the Canucks. The Canucks with that gradient red to blue, like black, weird mix. It was messed up, man. Nobody liked it.
Yeah.
Like I'll always remember Mark Messier wearing that Canucks jersey.
Yeah.
And I'll always want to forget Mark Messier wearing that Canucks jersey.
I mean, Vancouver's always had kind of a very checkered past when it came to their jerseys, where there was the Technicolor Vomit V jersey.
That was cool though, the flying V. I love that. That's so 70s.
That's it was
70s jersey ever.
Yeah, it was quintessential 70s. I actually like the way that their new is Abbotsford, I think, is their new AHL affiliate. They actually use the Johnny Canuck logo on their jerseys. I would like to see that as a full-time logo on the Canucks jerseys, but or at least put it on maybe the reverse retro or the new third jersey. I mean, I like that the Canucks had gone back to their original green and blue look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there were some basically when they got away from the technical color vomit jersey and they went to that, that skate logo, and then they went to the Orca logo.
The
Uh,
skate logo was cool.
skate logo was all right. I mean, I
It
don't
was
know.
it was odd.
It was odd. I mean, it was actually a '70s logo in the '80s and '90s.
Well, that's like the Blues. Whenever Gretzky played there for 6 weeks,
Oh,
you always see that like weird like slash color thing that they did.
well, yeah. Well,
It's
they had
it's
one
a
of those weird
super
third.
retro esque jersey.
Yeah, they had one of those weird third jerseys. They also had. In fact, I've got mid '90s Blues jersey with the red in it. Um, uh, I actually got that one. It was Buffalo just scored. Nice on the power play. It looks like Kyle Okposo puts it home. All right, it's like a 2-game goal streak for Kyle Okposo. Right on. All right, so 1-0 Buffalo. Um, but yeah, Vancouver's always had just a checkered past. I think their current look is good. I would like to see a Johnny Canuck jersey from them.
Their
Um,
current look is generic, and for the performance of the team, I think generic could be a good thing for a while.
yeah,
Have
well,
they earned a cool jersey? I don't,
it's that original logo. I mean, that one is a very quintessentially '60s jersey, or early '70s, late '60s, early '70s type jersey.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's very
it's cool.
reminiscent of the Golden Seals.
Yes, the
Yeah,
golden
it's got that same appeal
rib.
as the Seals.
All right, did you watch any of the Olympic hockey?
I did not. I have been working like a dog,
Yeah,
24/7, unless I'm asleep, and then I'm dreaming about work. Literally.
yeah. For if you're a fan of the United States, it was a tough Olympics. The men did really well in the round robin. They went 3-0. They defeated China. They shut them out. They beat the Canadians and played really well in that game. They then they played kind of lame against the Germans. Were able to sneak out a 3-2 victory to win the group, which entitled them to first place in the round. In the medal round, and so their opponents were Slovakia. Slovakia had to play an extra round to get to the Americans. So the Slovakians were on less than 24 hours rest before playing the American team and beat the Americans 3-2 in a shootout. Um, so the United States failed to medal. The only consolation that we can draw from that is that the Canadians also dropped their first the final round game. They're going to go without a medal. Um, I actually didn't even see what games played today. The other thing that was tough for the United States is that the women's game happened last night. The gold medal, everyone knew that this was going to happen. The United States was going to play Canada in the gold medal game of the women's side. Um, the United States struggled a little bit in their medal round games, but did make it through. They did lose to Canada in the first in the round robin, um, but just did not look good last night. They made it interesting towards the end. They scored with 12.5 seconds left to make it interesting, but they lost 3-2. They went down 3-0 and just couldn't. They didn't have the firepower to get back. And there were some really questionable on both sides, but questionable coaching decisions. The U.S. coach for the women's team really only played 2 lines last night. Like the line time discrepancy between the top 2 lines and the bottom 2 lines and the top 4 defensemen and the bottom 2 defensemen was really glaring. Like there was, I think the bottom pairing defenseman for the United States only played. They played like less than 5 minutes, and you can't. I mean, there's some serious trust issues that are at hand there, and I don't understand because you can't beat a team like Canada. Really in essence, you're playing 11 players with a goalie. So, and then on the American side, David Quinn for the men's coach, for some reason during the shootout against the Slovakians, did not put the most offensively talented player on the team out. It was Matty Beniers, the second overall pick of last draft, played a terrific game against the Slovakians. Was flying all over the ice. You have 5 shooters in the shootout. How he didn't get a shot, I will never know. Like that made no sense to me that Matty Beniers would not shoot in that shootout. Um,
Maybe
so
he didn't want to. Maybe he's just like, if I miss, the whole country hates me. I'd rather just not take the chance.
so you send out Andy Mealy, which Mealy played a decent tournament, but I'm a if I'm going to die, I'm going to die with my best players, and
Yeah,
yeah, Mealy's the captain. He's one of the more experienced players on the team, but I'd rather have the highest end talent making that falling on the sword there, because then you don't get questioned like, well, I put the most offensively gifted players out in the shootout, and we just didn't couldn't beat the goaltender.
I mean, the whole Olympics this year, just in its entirety, I don't know. Everything about this has been weird enough that I feel like it's on its way to become a year with an asterisk still.
Oh yeah,
Like,
there's a lot of people that just. I mean, one, there's a lot of people who don't want to watch the Olympics because of the human rights abuses going on in China and all that stuff. And I get that. I don't begrudge anybody who is not watching the Olympics. I've really kind of stopped now that both the American teams are out of that. Although I will still watch curling because curling chicks are hot.
curling is an awesome sport to watch.
Oh
But
yeah,
I do kind of agree with the human rights thing. We are talking about a China that has committed a genocide that's already at about twice what the Nazis did with the Holocaust that we're
yeah,
aware of in 20 years, and nobody really cares. So
yeah. The Anthony Uyghur
that's
population.
kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't blame people for boycotting it. I think China is losing their shirt over this Olympics anyway, just because they couldn't bring fans into international fans into it. So I mean, that's fine to me. Let's regroup in 4 years when it goes to Milan and Cortina in Italy. And I think because it's going to be in Europe, we're going to definitely have NHL players playing in that tournament. So, and
Yeah.
then of course, 4 years from now, we'll see how uh, the women's game is grows, because there's been lots of rumbling about knocking women's hockey out just because
Low
really beyond the
ratings.
United States and Canada, there's not much competition. Um,
The ratings are awful too. Like, there's more people watching male curling than there are female hockey.
Generally, I mean, unless it's the United States and Canada playing in a gold medal game, nobody watches the round robin games. Those are who wants to watch?
Which same thing goes for men's actually.
Yeah, and nobody wants
It's
to watch
not.
Canada drop a 15 spot on uh, Kazakhstan or something like that. It's not competitive enough. Which is why I'm really happy that the IIHF has decided to reschedule both the World Junior Championship, which normally takes place in December, and they're rescheduling that for August this year. So we'll see which players make the teams, and whether they're going to use the same players, or they're going to somebody's emerged over the entire CHL season or the NCAA season, and we'll see who's able to play. I don't know what the age eligibility rules are going to be with the extra 6 months added to it, but we'll see. And then the under 18 women's tournament, which is basically their World Juniors. They don't have a under 20 tournament. That's been rescheduled. There was a lot of anger that tournament was canceled in January, even before the World Juniors was canceled in midstream. Um, but they're going to run that tournament in June, so I'm looking forward to that, because I think more international tournaments is going to help some of these teams, like Sweden and Finland and Russia, improve their play and become more competitive on the international stage.
So speaking of the CHL, I now officially own all three, one of one, signed Philip Tomasino true rookie card printing plates.
You
So I
are
own all three printing plates from his actual first ever produced card.
is he gonna have to take a restraining order out on you, man?
Hey man, I'm not chasing the guy down. Look, I'm making smart investments. You just watch. He's gonna get traded off in Nashville. He's gonna go to New York or somewhere. He's gonna go light it up, man.
Yeah.
Top line with thin air. That's what I'm looking for.
I don't know if he goes to New York. I don't even know that they trade him off because I think he's a significant part of their future in Nashville.
And Nashville's building so quick. Nashville's one of my hot teams for the week.
Yeah.
Nashville's still on absolute fire. But before we get into hot and not, Arizona.
Yes.
My
Arizona.
favorite dumpster fire. I'm almost ready to buy a new hat. I'm not sure who's going to be on it, but it's probably not going to be this guy. We're playing at ASU's thing now. And
boy, they got roasted for that. They
shots fired, yeah, hard and heavy. The San Jose Barracudas actually tweeted out, "We're pretty sure our arena seats more than yours."
Now the Barracuda, to be fair, they actually play at SAP Center.
Yeah, which is true. It's definitely true.
Yeah.
Still, that stung a little, and I'm hoping to see Arizona go even lower. I want to see us absolutely tank and rebuild, actually rebuild. So I don't know if 3 seasons somewhere that nobody's actually going to go to and nobody actually cares about and people consider us a bye week. I don't know if that's that big of a deal, honestly, at this point.
There's a lot of consternation in the league that because the league is so dependent on ticket revenue, that this is going to put on both the team owners and the players, because they do the escrow, which means that the league holds a certain amount of money that is due to the players, and have to meet certain revenue projections for that revenue to be released. This will negatively impact the escrow, costing players money.
Yeah, Marshawn was very unhappy with this decision.
Yeah.
And anything that makes Brad the Rat unhappy is a win in my book.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? I don't think I literally think that it's not the optimal thing. Like, you do want a full 18,000 seat arena, or at least 15,000. You want to at least have something that's the same size as the Jets arena. But
yeah, it's sad whenever the Jets are your standard, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the atmosphere. Let's say that the Coyotes actually do kind of a quick turnaround. I don't think it's going to happen, but let's say they are semi-competitive next season, and the next season they're much more competitive, especially than this season. You got an arena that's on a college campus that, honestly, if I'm the Coyotes marketing staff, I'm all in trying to get as many college students at the game to turn that into a college atmosphere, that you have 5,000 screaming nuts students sitting on top of the players, get them drunk and have a good time, and just
that's what PNC does so good. PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. The reason that PNC is the loudest and probably the wildest arena that I've been to, just as far as the people go, you're right across the street. Literally, if you're standing at the door of PNC Arena, you're looking at NC State's football stadium.
Yeah.
You're right next to your walking distance to NC State's dorms. Raleigh has 3 or 4 major colleges.
You got UNC, you got Duke, and NC State, and you also have North Carolina Central. I believe is in Durham.
Yeah, and there's
major universities all over the place there.
Raleigh is small enough that, if there's a Carolina game on, that's what everybody wants to do. That's their major sports team. That's the only thing they have going for them, really.
Yeah.
I would say that there's probably more people that want to go to a Raleigh football or a Raleigh hockey game than an NC State football game.
Sure.
just because they serve beer at PNC. So I mean, if Arizona can take a note from that, because they're basically in the same spot, right? PNC is fairly small. It's
But they
right next
also,
to a college campus. It's a perfect blueprint for what Arizona should be doing right now.
but they also do something that draws on the football experience, and that is they have tailgates for their games. So, it's you kind of get that college football atmosphere, but you're at a hockey game. So,
For Raleigh,
yeah,
yeah, man. Whenever I go down, whenever I go to see a game in Carolina, because I go fairly frequently, whenever I'm down there, honestly, now before games, I used to go get something to eat before I went.
yeah,
Dude, now I just wear a Carolina jersey. I roll in. Game starts at 7. I roll in at like 3:30. I carry a few dollars cash. I'll just walk up to somebody that's making something and be like, "Hey, man, can I give you $10 for 2 burgers?" And never once have they taken the money. It's like, "Hey, here's a cooler. Get whatever you want to drink." Like
yeah,
if we run out, the gas station's right there. We don't care. Enjoy yourself. It's good to meet another fan. So,
yeah.
Carolina is easiest for me to compare to WVU because it's the exact same atmosphere outside of Milan Pushkar.
Yeah.
Like whenever you go to a WVU game, you're treated the exact same way as you are in Raleigh, and it's all college students or it's all people that work at the school and administration. It's all like, I would like to think that like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh are a little more blue collar, kind of closed off. Like we don't really want to interact with you. This is our one day off a week.
Yeah.
But you go to these schools or these arenas that are so close to schools, and you have such and people are friendlier. They're glad you're there. They want to hang out. Like everybody wants to meet somebody new and enjoy themselves. So if Arizona could play on that exact same thing, host some tailgates. You go to Raleigh, you're standing outside of Raleigh. Usually they have a DJ. They have areas sectioned off like VIP areas. They have grills going. They're making food. Half the time the players are hanging out outside before the game. Like it's so interactive with the community. If Arizona was to do something like that, they would become a hometown hero team instead of the black stain on Arizona sports.
And here's the interesting thing is that, and I think we could have proved it at Atlanta if they had been able to keep the team there, because they were very big about recruiting college students to go to games. They had $10 tickets to go to a Thrasher game. Um, you get those kids to invest in the Coyotes now, and they're going to build an arena in Tempe. At least the plan is to build an arena in Tempe. Probably still going to be close to the school, and then those kids that graduate and stay in the Phoenix area are going to be your fan
Diehards.
base moving forward. Yeah, they're going to be your ultras. I mean that's the way to look at it. And
Yeah, they're graduating and going straight into high-paying jobs and buying season tickets, right?
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that's the plan. That's how ticket revenue works. You want to sell as many season tickets as you can.
Yeah, but they are going to have to still, once they move into the new arena, they're still going to have to market to those college kids and try and get like a season a smaller season ticket package for Arizona State students or something like that that gets them in the door for a relatively inexpensive ticket to continue that atmosphere in the college. Just have like one section bricked off for your college ultra crazy fans. That's the way to do it. And hell, have a band do. I mean, just do it up like a college atmosphere. Like I
I
get
tell you
that.
what, this is the perfect opportunity for. If Arizona was smart, the thing that they would do right now, the NHL would hate it, and Arizona would do so well with it. You know who's huge in that area?
Who's that?
Barstool. You
Well,
have Paul Bissonnette, who is the guy, right?
yeah,
He's the spitting chicklets guy. That is him and Ron Whitney. And Ron Whitney isn't really as big as Paul Bissonnette because Paul Bissonnette's kind of stupid and everybody loves him.
yes.
Ron Whitney's just like if
Ryan Whitney's the
Ron Whitney's if Pittsburgh was a smell.
He's the straight guy, and Paul Bissonnette is the comic relief.
Yeah, so Paul Bissonnette already he played for the Coyotes. he loves Arizona. He still lives in Phoenix. He said that he's never moving.
Yeah.
If you could find a way to get involved with Barstool and have, you go to WVU, every back of every stop sign has a Stooley sticker on it. Every party before WVU games hosted by Barstool. After parties at the bars, Barstool's buying the bar out, and it's, dollar drafts. Like, Barstool makes WVU football 10 times better than it would be without them.
I
If
gotta
you
go.
could find a way to, you have to go. Holler at me, we'll go.
All right.
No, if you could find a way to get Barstool involved with Arizona hockey, is like the Barstool team. Like right now, the Barstool team for football is the Patriots because Dave Portnoy is a Patriots guy. And that will always be the Barstool team. The Bruins are not the Barstool hockey team. He's a hockey fan and he watches the Bruins, but that's not their team. They don't have one.
Yes, we are live. In fact, let's take a look at the scores. So most of the things are rolling into the second period or into the first period. The Capitals lead the Flyers 1-0 on a goal by Michael Kempney, his first of the season, at 18:35. Let's see. The Red Wings are leading the Rangers, still in that Troy Stetcher goal early in the first period. That's at the first intermission. Also at the first intermission, the Maple Leafs still lead on that Austin Matthews goal. Austin Matthews goal at 21 seconds of the first period. Blues and Canadians are tied at one apiece. Thomas and Byron have scored a shorthanded goal for Thomas at the 18:26 mark for St. Louis to match up Paul Byron's even strength goal at 7:13. The Sabres lead. Oh, I guess it was not on the power play, but Kyle Okposo scored at 13:37. They're up 1-0 on the Senators, and the Islanders and Bruins are underway. There was a 7:30 start, and that's 0-0, 11:09 left in the first. So last night was the return of Jack Eichel. I thought I was going to be a little angry or sad. I watched it. It was I don't know. He looked okay. I mean, he did look a little bit off. Like there were a couple times the passes got into him, and he couldn't really get a stick on it. Passes were in his skates. He took a penalty early, but nothing special. I mean, I think that he's going to be fine eventually. It's going to take time. I mean, he did spend 11 months off the ice. Didn't have a great season last year before getting injured. He started the season injured and was injured against the Islanders while the Sabres were in that 18 game losing streak. So I'm not surprised. Um, you know, I actually last night watched the other game that was the TNT game, was the Florida Panthers versus Carolina Hurricanes. That was an excellent game. I'm there for that playoff series if it happens. And the guy that I really feel bad that we lost out on was Sam Reinhart. Sam, very nice. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
And yeah, I should shave it. You know what? Here's the reason why I don't. Here's the reason why I don't shave. I shave this off. I look like I'm 12. Like I go to a store and I buy alcohol. I'm carded. Like it's a pain.
Have you ever seen a picture of me without a beard?
No.
I know, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they exist?
Yeah.
You weren't born like that, you didn't have.
No, my first profile picture on Facebook, I was still a firefighter and I had to stay clean shaven for pack seals.
Yeah.
And if you go back and look at my first profile picture, it is a picture of me with no beard, and you will immediately understand why I have a beard.
Do you have the baby face as well?
I can I got you. Do a live face reveal for somebody that you've seen 100 times.
There you go.
Look
But
at that young man.
so young, so innocent.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about any. Look at that.
Nice. So yeah, so Jack Eichel comes back. He the Knights the Golden Knights are shut out by the Colorado Avalanche 2-0. It was a good game. Darcy Kemper's looking good for the Avs. The Avs are absolutely flying right now.
I miss Darcy.
They're just going to blow the rest of that division away.
I don't know. I got a lot of faith in Minnesota.
You know what? I like Minnesota. I just think that Minnesota really is going to be. Right now, it's a fight for second, and I think Minnesota is going to be. I think they're going to stretch themselves out. I mean, it really depends on what happens with the trade deadline that's coming up, but I think Minnesota, in almost any other division, would probably be the class of the division. Problem is, they're playing. They've got Colorado in their division, and Colorado's beating up on everybody right now. And so I'm here for that. If we get to that series in the playoffs, I'm thinking Colorado really hopes that they're in a series against the Vegas Golden Knights. That means they've made the Western Conference Finals, and they've escaped the second round trap that they've fallen into the last couple of years. But as far as Eichel goes, it's going to get better for him. But I think the Golden Knights have issues going forward. One, they put Mark Stone on long-term injured reserve. He does have a back issue.
That really is a hard hit for them too.
See,
Stone's been a quarterback in that team for eternity.
Yeah, and Vegas is not in a very stable playoff position. Calgary has blown past them in the and that's my hot team for the week is the Calgary Flames. They've blown past Vegas. Vegas is 5 points from being out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
and I will tell you, I'm rooting for that because Buffalo holds Vegas's first round draft pick. It's top 10 protected, so I hope they don't fall down too far. But if you fall into that 12th or 13th overall draft pick, that's my sweet spot. Put it right there. Yeah, I'm good with that. But they're not in a very strong playoff position right now, and Edmonton's starting to play better. They've won 3 in a row. You got the California teams that are overachieving right now. But really, that Pacific Division looks like it's only going to get 3 teams. So you've got to get into the top 3. Vegas should, based on their team, but they're dealing with a ton of injuries right now. With Mark Stone now on the long-term injury reserve, Robin Leonard's got an upper body injury. We don't know how long he's going to be dealing with that. And then we're also, last night, Nolan Patrick got injured again. Looks like he's got another concussion. Did you see that hit that Nathan McKinnon put on him?
That surprised me at a Big Mac.
That was a pretty brutal reverse hit there on him.
Yeah.
And sent him flying. He went down, and he's got a history of concussions. I'm worried.
Bad one. I mean, he was out a whole season for migraines due to concussions.
Yeah.
So I don't know, dude. That's really sketchy. I like Nolan Patrick a lot. I would love to see him go somewhere and do something. I just think that once you hit this many concussions and you're that concussion prone, I don't know if the guy just has like a bird skull or what, but I mean, he's always got a concussion.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. A lot of these guys that have concussion issues, it's that first one is generally the worst one. That knocked him out for a long time. But once you keep getting hit, it's much easier to get concussed. Yeah, and these guys
But
got
they're less severe short term.
they're less severe short term, but then
But long term, you're screwed.
Yeah, your long term health, CTE. What about your post playing career? Are you going to want to, be there, like mentally there, and not have those issues like, we've seen with some players like Derek Bugard and that. Yeah, you don't want that for a kid. I mean, Nolan Patrick still is a very young player. He was first
Probably
overall,
21.
5 seasons?
21, 22. I would
Yeah.
say he might be my age, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, but he was drafted in like the last 5 seasons number 1 overall.
Yeah,
Or 2, number 2.
2 overall. Yeah,
Uh, you know, I would hate to see his career cut short, but I would rather his career be cut short under his own decision with an eye towards his future health. But yeah, I mean, Vegas has got some injury issues. They're not in a solid playoff position now. Do I think Jack Eichel can turn it on and lead him there? I don't know. Like, I mean, he never did it for Buffalo. Yeah, it's a vastly different team than he's playing for. It's a much more talented team. But this is uncharted territory for Jack Eichel.
right.
And they're
This
gonna.
is his first time with talent since
college.
juniors. Yeah,
When he was at Boston University. I mean, that's uh, it's been a while for him. I mean, he's had some decent teammates in Buffalo. It was just they could never put it together. Yeah. So
tell you what, I'm really excited about.
what's that?
Shane Wright to Arizona.
You guys got to get losing, man.
We're losers, I promise.
Well, if we look at the standings, you guys have games in hand.
Nope, we're bad. Let us be bad.
Yeah, you guys are bad. I mean, you can still. I mean,
We
look,
want to
you
be
can
the
still
worst.
lose
I want to be the worst.
you can still win the draft lottery.
I want to be the worst. I just
48 games played. You've got 28 points. Montreal Canadiens are at 48 games. They've got 23 points. So they got 5 points in hand on you.
No, the Canadians are on their way back up right now. They're coming all the way back.
It's an interesting way of coming back up because they're losers of 8 straight. They have not won under new head coach.
They're going to beat St. Louis tonight.
At this point, I'm just happy that Buffalo's got a couple teams that they're still up on in the division. Like these are small things for me, like small victories for Buffalo. That
I want to be the biggest loser.
We've been the biggest loser, and it's not all that great, man.
Hey, dude, if you're gonna be that close to the bottom, you might as well lean in.
Yeah, go for the gusto. I get you. I don't. I hope it works out for you guys. Even if you don't finish dead last, that you guys win the draft lottery, because I know you guys have been screwed out of the draft lottery a couple times as well. So
yeah, because I mean the league doesn't want anybody good to go to Arizona.
Yeah, I mean
Bettman does.
Bettman does. Bettman might actually just pull that ball out for like just look in there and be like, oh, there's the Arizona ball. Yeah, they win the draft lottery.
We'd be so lucky. That's a best case scenario. I'll take it. You call me a cheater, call me a loser, call me whatever you want. I want Shane Wright, and I don't really care if we have to cheat to get him. Because honestly, he can't give us that much of an upper hand on anybody ever.
Yeah, I mean, I really haven't looked too close beyond Shane Wright as far as the draft. There was a guy that was playing for the Slovaks against the Americans who looks really good. That's, I think, the second-ranked European skater. Good size, good shot. I mean, if he falls to Buffalo, I would be happy to have him. So, but we'll see what happens with that. Sidney Crosby got his 500th goal the other night.
Ooh.
Yeah. Congrats on Sid.
Actually, I'm happy for him.
Yeah, congrats to Sid. I mean, it's still 5 years after Ovechkin did it, but it's a good milestone. I mean, there's always going to be that debate between who's the best player of this generation, Crosby or Ovechkin. Ovechkin's going to be the best goal scorer.
But
Crosby.
Crosby has more cups.
Yeah, Crosby had. Well, here's the thing with Crosby. Crosby's played like a hundred and some odd games, fewer than Ovechkin, and is only like 15 points behind. So he's a better assist guy and a better, uh, you know, I would say his game is probably better overall. But
But goals, he's behind by how many?
oh yeah, he's almost 300.
Even if he'd got a goal a game for the time that he missed, like
Yeah, no, he's not the goal scorer that Ovechkin is the best pure goal scorer, and I think at by the time he retires, it'll be the best pure goal scorer of all time because he didn't drop and he did it in an era that included both the trap game and the uh, better goalies than say Wayne Gretzky, and Wayne Gretzky got to 500 goals like in no time in his career. Like within the first 5 or 6
yeah,
seasons.
but Wayne Gretzky was McDavid against like a piece of plywood.
Yeah. I mean, he was shooting on one of those dummy targets, like the kids play in the backyard. Stand up goaltenders and things like that. Over the last half of his career, he didn't score nearly as many goals, and now he did switch to more of an assist game. I mean, you don't lead the points race by as much as I'm not saying that Gretzky was not talented as he was, but certainly. I think the goal scoring prowess that Ovechkin shows versus what Gretzky shows. I will say that by the time he retires, Ovechkin will be the best pure goal scorer in NHL history.
I'm not happy about it, but I accept it. I had a guy comment on one of my hockey groups. He commented on there that Crosby was like, or no, Ovechkin was the greatest all time, and Crosby doesn't count. And then another guy was like, well, Crosby has more goals, so obviously he's better. So I made my standard argument of, or more goals, more cups.
Yeah.
And I made my standard argument of, well, then Henry Richard is the greatest of all time, indisputably. And he just comments back, that's dumb.
Yeah.
People hate it whenever you turn an argument around, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun. I enjoy it.
So did you see that goal that Barkov scored last night? Oh,
Barkov is quickly becoming an absolute Hall of Fame candidate.
Oh yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah, and Florida is probably the hottest team on ice right now. I know that Colorado's really hitting it, but like, I don't know, man. I feel like Florida's in their prime, and this is the year of the Panther.
Yeah, Buffalo holds the Florida draft pick in the first round, and that's the one I'm not really counting too much on being anywhere near. And I would be surprised if it's anywhere below 30.
Doesn't Buffalo hold the first round draft pick for pretty much everybody?
No, just it's they got their own draft pick.
Vegas and Florida.
And I'm not angry with it. So hopefully Vegas falls off and falls out of the playoffs, so I can get a good draft pick out of it, or we can package it. Maybe we can package it and get that first overall pick. No, I'm just kidding.
I think that Vegas is going to drop off and Nashville's going to come up.
I hope so. I'll root for that.
Or Vegas will drop down to a wild card at least. I don't know. That division's not competitive enough. Like, if the Kings are in the standings for a wild card, I don't really think that they're going to get out of the playoffs.
I think that division's going to get a wild card. I think it's going to be the top 3 get in, and then 5 teams out of the Central get in.
Yeah. I mean, it could happen.
The way that the standings are now, it's not really that close. The Dallas is 5th in the well, it is close, but Dallas is 5th, but they've got games in hand. 4th is Los Angeles. They're 1 point behind Los Angeles. They have a game in hand on the Kings. Anaheim is also at 55 points, but they've got 2 games in hand on Anaheim.
Dallas is just so ridiculously volatile, though. Like, I mean, Dallas could drop off tomorrow and not win another game this season. and I wouldn't be
Sure.
surprised. They also could win every game that they play for the rest of the season. I'd be like, Dallas is doing
Yeah,
it.
they're on a 7-3-0 run in the last 10, but they're still fifth place. 4 points out. I'm sorry, 6 points behind Nashville. Um, the Central definitely will get one wild card. I still think that uh, I do think that Dallas is going to do something at the deadline to address some of their shortcomings. Um, but yeah, that Pacific Division outside of Calgary is just a hot mess. Edmonton's won 3 in a row, and they've got themselves back into a playoff position. But three teams are tied with 55 points in that division,
Yeah.
and just because Edmonton has fewer games played, that they're in that third playoff position. Vegas is only 4 points up on third place, which is also fifth place. You know, so they're. I mean, and they've played 49 games. Edmonton's got 47. Los Angeles 48. So Vegas already has played more games, and they're on a points percentage. They're almost even with Edmonton and Los Angeles and Anaheim. So
I mean, right now the Pacific, that third slot for the Pacific, it's 4 horses in the straight stretch, and it's going to come down to a snapshot to decide who made it in.
well, we've got the trade deadline coming up. We actually had a trade this week to Calgary. The rich get richer in this division. Calgary trades for Tyler Toffoli, dealing off Tyler Pitlick, which makes an interesting combo in Montreal. Tyler and Rem Pitlick are brothers, and they're playing on the team. Another name included in that trade, Emil Heineman. Emil Heineman was a second-round draft pick of the Florida Panthers. He was traded to Calgary for the Sam Bennett deal. He's now flipped again to Montreal. That poor kid's probably got. I mean, he hasn't even played in North America yet. He's been traded twice. Probably got a little bit of it.
At least he hasn't bought a house.
This is true. They also get a first round draft pick this season and a fifth in a couple seasons. This was, the brand new GM of the Montreal Canadiens got a king's ransom off of this. Tyler Toffoli's a decent player, but I don't think he's worth 4 assets.
No,
at all.
No, and I don't really know what they're going for here. I would think that right now the concern in Montreal would be to pick up as many picks as possible, not deal them out.
Well, no, they got the 2 picks.
Or they got the picks.
Yeah, they got the 2 picks so they got 4 assets for Tyler Toffoli, who again, decent player, just not worth 4 picks. I mean, if that's the market we're setting for the trade deadline, either it's going to be stupid assets going everywhere, or we're not going to see many trades at all. Because that's a rich deal to make for a Tyler Toffoli. Not that there's like a ton of players that are, just screaming that out that need to be traded, and especially with the flat cap world, it's going to be hard to move players in and out. You're going to have to look at players that are on expiring contracts where the prorated amount of their remaining contract is going to be such that you can fit it under your cap. But we've got 3 big name, semi big name players. Where do you think a guy like Mark Giordano is going to go?
Honestly, anywhere that'll take him. He's so old. He's underperformed so bad since he got out of Calgary. And that's not necessarily his fault, but like, what do you base the future off of? If it's not his current performance, I don't know what you gauge that with. So I think that the concern of him is going to be like, does anybody actually want him?
Well,
is it going to be like an Anaheim deal off, or a San Jose that's looking for a little bit more of a veteran presence to replace some guys that they've lost and try to get him cheap?
The team that I think could use him is maybe Nashville. Getting a little bit more veteran presence in the lineup.
I feel like you've got that though with Yossi.
Yeah, I mean, if I think it really depends on what happens with Anaheim. Anaheim has a couple of questions they've got to answer going into the trade deadline. What are you going to do with Hampus Lindholm? And what are you going to do with Josh Manson? Both defensemen, both are on expiring contracts. Uh, do you try and sign them before the deadline? How does that impact their cap? I'm not really sure where they're at with the cap at this point. Um, but it's a fairly young team, so I don't think they're going to be pushing the cap too hard. You could sign Lindholm, but is Lindholm in your long term plans as Anaheim Duck, or is Lindholm the guy that you were saying going into the season? All right, we're going to hold on to Lindholm until the deadline, and we're going to flip him for a couple assets to help in the further along the rebuild. Same thing with Manson. Manson's a very serviceable stay at home defenseman, a lot of grit. Um, they're both valuable depending on what you need as a team. If you need a power play quarterback, Lindholm your guy. If you need a tough gritty defenseman, Manson's going to be your guy. But with Anaheim kind of hanging around that playoffs race, what do they do? Do they keep them around?
I think that it's going to depend a little more on the standings once you get close to the deadline. If they see they've got something that's working, it's going to keep them in contention for possibly to move up to a third, possibly that one wild card in the West.
Yeah,
Um, it's I'm sure that they have 6 or 7 different plans laid out right now. If this goes this way, we can do this thing. If this goes this way, we'll do this thing. If they do make playoffs, how realistic is front of house going to be that they're actually going to make it out of the first round? I think
yeah,
that's something else to really consider. Being the fifth best in the worst division as far as talent goes, other than the top 1, 2, or 3. Do you really have a lot of hope that playoff spot means anything, or is it just another way to sell a few more tickets before the end of the season?
yeah,
So, with all that in consideration, I would think that they would go ahead and deal them and try to bring in maybe some younger forwards and some lesser value defensemen. They're doing really good with that forward core. I mean, you've got Zegras and Milano that are absolutely lighting it up.
yeah,
So, if they continue on that route, if they even just find one more decent forward to go with it, they trade for a little bit younger defenseman on the top two, somebody they could work with a little bit. Really, it's all subjective to where they are and what they think that they actually can do as far as the cup race goes. I don't think that anybody's counting on Anaheim to, Stu Grimson's not going to skate out on the ice and be like, all right, kids, here's how you do it.
yeah.
Like, this isn't going to be the perfect season for Anaheim. They're missing a lot of big pieces that would put them in contention for that. So, best case scenario, they make playoffs. They sell an extra few tickets. They go ahead and deal these guys off. They bring in a little bit more young talent. Somebody that needs some veterans gets them. It's kind of a win-win.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I'm Anaheim, I'm dealing one of them at least. I would actually try and hold on to Manson just because that's the kind of player you need.
See, I would try to hold on to Lindholm.
I think there are enough offensive defensemen in the grand scheme of things that you can replace a Lindholm, that really tough, stay at home, gritty defenseman, the guy that will protect your players. I think is somebody that you need to have moving forward, and I
I
think
mean,
you're
that's
going to
true.
get them a lot cheaper than you would for Lindholm.
They don't really have a brute outside of Manson.
Yeah.
There's not a whatever the modern term for goon is in.
Well, and you've got all those young high end talent players that you need somebody that is going to knock someone's block off if they take anybody takes liberties with them.
Yeah, but do you try to keep that in a defenseman? Because that's always been a weird role for a defenseman. The
Yeah.
tough guy is not supposed to be a defenseman as far as everything has ever been for the league. Really, if you have a tough guy defenseman outside of a very, very select few, you're kind of setting a new bar. So I wonder if they're going to consider that and maybe go for somebody that's a little more gritty that's going to be on the front.
Did you see the dive that Brendan Lemieux took the other day? Evander
I was
Kane.
surprised.
Evander Kane is a very
He's
good,
a powerhouse, but he didn't hit him that hard. It
was a glove hand, and it was kind of a straight, maybe it was like a Bruce Lee 1-inch punch, but
you're not going to get that kind of force out of a fully extended arm. Like, he had to skate forward to hit him with the glove. If you're in motion whenever you throw a punch, and all of the power behind that punch is coming from the fact that you're moving at 1.5 miles an hour on skates, you can't hit somebody that hard. I don't care who you are. We'll go to the ice right now. That's just not how it works. So
it was kind of embarrassing for Lemieux.
It was a soccer embellish from it, dude. It looked just like his dad.
Yeah, it was his dad. I'm like, he learned from his dad. Yeah, it was sad to watch because Brendan Lemieux can bang, man. He can throw it.
Yeah, Brendan Lemieux is a phenomenal fighter. That's why I was so excited for him to go to the Kings. The Kings are going ahead and starting to prep the outside pieces for whenever they get that strong inner core from all these draft picks coming up. And I love that. That's a fantastic idea, and it's probably the best thing they could do in this situation, in my opinion. But if he's going to start acting like Claude, they need to just go ahead and deal him, because he's going to turn into Brad Marchand after Marchand is done, and he's not going to score 1/3 of the goals that Marchand does.
No.
So
not at all.
You don't need an instigator. The instigator is dead. The instigator retired in 2005, right? You need a fighter that's going to come out next shift and drop him with Kane instead of making himself the laughing stock of the league.
Yeah. I mean, you don't. If I'm Lemieux, you don't want to take on Kane, because Kane is
you're not going to win.
Yeah, Kane is I think a better, higher class than Lemieux. Lemieux could take on somebody else on the Kings and do, or on the Oilers, and do rather well.
I honestly think that Lemieux and Lucic would be a good fight.
Oh yeah, that would be a good fight.
That's reasonable, but Kane, there's only 3 or 4 guys in the league that I would put in that top tier of Rock'em Sock'ems, and Kane's one of them. Love him, hate him, whatever drama's around him, the dude can throw it.
He was the last guy to actually get kicked out of a game for fighting 3 times, and he fought the same guy and beat him all 3 times. Dimitri Kulakov of the Panthers, who eventually ended up in Buffalo. It was really awkward, but I think Kane had been dealt off by then. But Kane is just, I mean, he's a freak. He's not hulking. It's just that he's got the background. His dad is friends with Evander Holyfield. I mean, he knows how to fight. So
if you're named after Evander Holyfield and you play in a sport where fighting is allowed, you better be able to fight.
Exactly. I will tell you my favorite Evander Kane moment was the time he one-punched Matt Cook. And I watched that game. I was watching that game on TV, and I hate Matt Cook. I hated Matt Cook. Matt Cook was, not quite to the level of Brad Marchand, or not quite to the level that you hate Tom Wilson. But Cook was a cheap shot artist, and when he got one shot by Kane, the entire building blew up. Even the Pens fans, Atlanta games, generally were 60-40, maybe 50-50 of the
away presence.
Yeah, and even the Pens fans were happy to see Matt Cook get smoked.
I would say right now, if I had to top 3 throwdown guys in the league, Wilson's on the list. I hate that so much. It's like a metallic taste in my mouth.
I smell burnt toast. Oh God.
Wilson's a top 3 throwdown guy. I don't really know that you could dispute it. I would say that Kane is also up there. honestly, probably the other one would have to be Ron Reeves. Reeves is another guy you don't get to see fight enough because nobody will do it.
Yeah. I'd like to see Reeves and Foligno go.
Dude, Foligno's coming up on his prime,
Yeah.
and he is. I love Marcus
I
Foligno.
hated when we got rid of Foligno.
Yeah, Foligno's a monster. Foligno's
Yeah.
the new era of hurt people.
Yeah. Let's see. A couple other players that might move before the deadline. I think will definitely move. One is Claude Giroux. Who do you think? Who do you think he goes to?
Somebody that has a cap for him. Giroux's not going to sign cheap. That's.
I think he's a pure rental. I think because he's at the last end of his current deal. So whoever gets him will get him on a prorated contract of about $1 million. So it's not that hard to fit him. I don't think he's going to go to like Vegas. I think Vegas still has all kinds of.
No, I could see him going to Winnipeg with the intentions of extensions. Something along those lines. One of the lower tier Canadian teams, maybe.
I could honestly, I could see Colorado making a move. They probably have to be a
It'd be a
little
good time for him.
at least on the rental market. I think Colorado is so desperate to get out of the second round, they're going to load up.
You think they're going to pull a Toronto last year, a Blue Jackets whenever they picked up everybody in the league that was up for sale?
Yeah.
Hey.
Go after Polino, go after I think the fact that the Colorado Avalanche have disappointed the last two playoffs where they've gotten bounced in the second round. It's just like the Maple Leafs. They're desperate to get out of the first round.
But are they going to put that focus on forwards, or are they going to put that focus on stay-at-home defensemen, somebody to complement Makar, or somebody, some second-line guys? Because I feel like really right now the concern for Colorado that's kept them out of this third round is their goaltending is present but not really accounted for.
Yeah.
I know Kemper's on a hot streak right now, but I also watched Kemper play long enough in Arizona to know whenever he decides to go down, dude, he's busted for a minute. Yeah. So are they going to look more towards forwards because they have some of the strongest forwards in the league, or are they going to look more towards some higher-end defensemen to make sure that they have more coverage on that back end?
If Colorado makes a deal, it's either going to be Giroux or it's going to be the other guy that I think moves at the deadline, and that's Marc-Andre Fleury.
That would be a great idea. And you know who else is looking at Fleury? Vegas. Vegas wants him back.
Vegas? Well, I just read an article where Chicago is like, no, we're not going to trade in Vegas.
I think Fleury would want to go to Vegas. I don't think that he'd want to split his time with Reimer because, he's getting towards the end of his career. Like, they're probably designing the banner right now in Pittsburgh. So, I think that the problem with Fleury is wherever he goes, he's going to have to be guaranteed a 1A until he's done.
Yeah, I don't think if Fleury gets dealt, he's not going to go to Vegas. He's going to go someplace. I don't think he wants to go back to Vegas.
No.
At least.
No, because he knows he's going to have to share the spotlight with Reimer, and he's not going to do
that. As everything ended in Vegas really less than a year ago, like 7-8 months ago, you're going to have to get Fleury, really convince him that you really want him. And I think the hurt is too raw after what they did. Not even calling him to let him know he was traded. Just him finding out on Twitter that he got traded. That's you don't do that to a guy that was the face of your franchise for so long, or at least the first face of your franchise. It would be totally a move that I could see him blessed. Yeah, well, I could. That's why I think Colorado, if he does get dealt, it goes to Colorado because one, it kind of sticks a thumb in the Vegas Golden Knights' eye because that's that's what everyone's looking at as far as a Western Conference final. it solidifies Colorado's goaltending. He's in a place that he's really, really wanted and will be a 1A or number one goaltender there. I completely agree with you about uh, uh, Darcy Kemper. Like, yeah, he is hot as a firecracker now, but that firecracker explodes, and
You have to know that that's not going to last. If you've ever
yeah,
watched Kemper for a season, the ebb and flow, and there's a lot of both.
and they can't afford to have a goaltender. They're one. I mean, uh, is is it still Francouz as their backup
Yeah.
or yeah? So I mean, you're not going to. I mean, that's what cost them when they were playing in the bubble is the fact that they just didn't have the goaltending to get out of those rounds. You know, they went down to Francouz, who was the third round or the third string goaltender for them at that time. Um, I wouldn't trust him to get you out of the second round as a a top goaltender if Kemper gets injured or the worst happens with Kemper when his game completely falls off. So um, Colorado does need to shore up that goaltending. I don't think Carey Price is going to be the answer for anybody. I don't think he's going to be ready. We're still he's still not anywhere near playing at this point, and we're a month away from the trade deadline.
He would have Montreal would have at least put him out for 2 or 3 like fewer games just to show that he can still perform.
Yeah, but the worry is that he ends up like Tuukka Rask and Ben Bishop, and either retires on his own or just shows that he's not anywhere near ready to come back from the knee injury.
Yeah, I think that if he was going to be ready for trade deadline, right now they would be showboating him against some weaker teams, show that he can still make stops, and increase his trade value instead of leaving him to be, I mean,
I
it's
just don't think he's ready.
you're bobbing for apples.
Yeah,
It's what are you going to get if you get him? Like for the amount of money that they've sunk into him, nobody's going to invest that much without having an inkling of an idea of whether or not he's going to be able to perform. So
yeah. I mean, the only other place that I could see either Fleury or Price going would be Edmonton because Edmonton's got to do something with their goaltending. Um, I don't think Mike Smith is a long term option or anything that's going to get them deep in the playoffs. Uh, but if I'm Edmonton, I don't know that I can take a flyer on Carey Price who hasn't played.
yeah,
You know, I would be much more comfortable. If uh, Buffalo's still up 1-0. Uh, that if a team takes a flyer on Craig Anderson. Craig Anderson's played really well this season for a young and really green Buffalo team. Having a team with a lot of talent in front of him, who knows how he responds. But who is your hot team for the week?
I don't know. Nashville's definitely up there for me.
Yeah,
Every corner you turn, Nashville's around it, and they're rising rapidly. So I'm really liking Nashville. You know, I'm pretty disappointed that Carolina's dropped off as much as they have in the East.
well, they're only set. I mean, there's second. They're 2 points behind. 2 points behind Pittsburgh, and they got 2 games in hand on the Penguins.
Yeah, but their
Sorry, 3 games.
performance, if you watch them, they're not playing the same. Like it's a
Yeah.
slow decline, but it's evident. Um,
Oh crap! I jinxed it on Anderson. Sorry.
it's still
Uh,
1-1, St.
yeah, it's
Louis.
1-1. It's 1-1 here. I just saw the notification come on my phone, and yeah, I looked up and it's 1-1. So or 1-1 now. But Carolina's 5-3-2 in the last 10. You have these patches in the middle of the season. Last night was tough because they held the Panthers to that really special Barkov goal, but they were up 2-1. Final minute, they were 20 some odd seconds away from holding off the Panthers for an entire game, and just a fluke deflection that went off to the side of the net, and Sam Reinhart uh, pots the game tying goal. And then while they were trying to set up the second broadcast for the Golden Knights, and Colorado Avalanche game. 16 seconds into the overtime, they get the game-winning goal. I mean, it was like all of a sudden you look up and there's a breakaway, and they're interviewing. I think they were interviewing Eichel at the time, before the Vegas game, and completely missed the game-winning goal in the overtime for the Panthers. So the Panthers got a 3-2 victory out of that game. Carolina gets the point, but that was kind of a disappointing one. But there's still a lot of good fundamentals with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just I was hoping that they would maintain momentum.
Yeah.
Not hot. Arizona's winning. It's not hot. Stop. Nobody likes a sore winner.
I mean, they're only 2-8 in the last 10, but still, that's two more wins.
Too many.
That's 2 more wins than they should have. They got 12 wins on the season. Montreal's not hot because they're on an 8-game slide. They're just it's the coaching change did not help. And you got to feel for Marty St. Louis, but the idea that you can take a guy that's really only ever coached Pee Wee level and throw him in the National Hockey League and expect results. I don't know if he's part of their long-term plans or they just wanted him to be behind the bench because he's a French-Canadian player.
Yeah, I was about to say that the only advantage of having him right now is the fact that you have a guy that speaks fluent French.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's the sad thing. It's not a good look because they're just this team played for the Stanley Cup less than 8 months ago, and now they were just can't get out of their own way. Eight in a row, 0-8-2 in the last 10. So even the 2 non-losses in their last 10 are overtime losses. So, Calgary's my hot team because they're on an 8-game flyer. They've rocketed up the standings in the Pacific. They've kind of taken that division under control. They've got 2 games in hand on Vegas, 3 points up on them, and that trade shows that they're going for it. I just think with Calgary, the problem with the trade that they made is they used too many assets, and may not have the assets available to make any further moves. So this might be the team that they're going to skate into the playoffs with. But getting a Tyler Toffoli early will give them much more time to gel and play together and integrate into the team. My not, it's going to be Montreal. It's hard to pick on the team, but the move to make St. Louis the coach is just desperate to me, and they didn't set him up for success at all. Like if I'm going to pick a Pee Wee coach, I'm going to put him in charge of. I'd rather him be in charge of Florida than
Anaheim.
Yeah, or Anaheim. Anaheim. I think Dallas Eakins is doing a tremendous job there.
It's a Marty Ducks, Joey.
Yeah, but yeah, I hope your Coyotes continue to fall.
Lose harder.
Seattle's not been doing that great. They're still like 12 points up. I'm sorry, 8 points up on Arizona. I just don't know that Montreal is going to string together any more than 2 wins in the season. It's going to be a struggle for them to get above. I would be surprised if Montreal, the way that they're playing, gets above where the number of wins that Arizona has right now. That's 12. They're at 8 right now.
Man, we suck. We suck so bad.
I know the feeling, man.
Embrace it.
We're only at 16 wins. So.
Embracing it.
Well, it looks like there's an argument in the Buffalo game.
But I think that about wraps us up for the night, eh?
Yeah, let's take a look at the scores before we head out for the evening. 2-1 Capitals over the Flyers. Kempney scored. Snively scored his fourth. It's a good young player that's coming up for the Capitals, making immediate positive contributions. Mayhew scored for the. It looks like they just tied it up. Mayhew just scored for the Flyers, and then Travis Sanheim just tied the game at 2. What's going on? What are you laughing at?
Brendan Gallagher.
Oh, what did he do?
Completely alone in the back end with the puck. Goes straight down. Just tripped on open ice. Goes straight into the boards by himself.
Ow.
Completely alone. Lays there for a minute, loses possession of the puck.
Ow. Red Wings are over the Rangers 2-1. Stitcher had the early goal. Dylan Larkin has scored in the second period. Keandre Miller has responded for the Blue Shirts. Maple Leafs are up 3-0 on the Penguins. The Penguins were hot going into this game. Matthews, Riley, and Kampf have scored for the Maple Leafs. The Kampf goal was a shorthanded goal towards the end of the second period. That's in the second intermission. Your game 1-1 Blues and Canadians. Thomas and Byron have scored in that game. 1-1 in the Buffalo Ottawa game. That's at the second intermission. Zach Sanford tied it up for the Senators at 16-14 in the second to respond to the Kyle Okposo. Now they're calling it a power play goal. In the first period for Buffalo, Bruins are up on the Islanders 1-0. Islanders, you thought maybe perhaps they would come back a little bit, but man, they are still struggling. The Sabres dropped 6 on them the other night.
I knew they were on the downhill.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see who gets moved out of down this trade deadline. I don't think it's going to be a hard rebuild for the Islanders. But there's some pieces like Palmieri, Zajac, the guys they got from New Jersey last year. There are a couple other players that they could probably deal off and get some younger talent into the franchise. The Kraken are up on the Jets 2-1 at the end of one. Vince Dunn, Marcus Johansson for the Kraken, Toninato for the Winnipeg Jets on a shorthanded with 13 seconds left in the first period. And the Blue Jackets and Blackhawks are underway 0-0 early in the first.
If the Islanders don't announce they're moving players by saying you've been voted off the island, they are doing something super wrong.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Yeah. All right, man.
All right, man.
Got anything else for the week?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone, for joining us. Thanks to Go Bee House for the $5 donation. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. That's our first donation.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So thanks, everyone, for watching, and we're
going to raise a banner for them in Seattle.
There you go. That's right. We'll put a banner up, and yeah, that works.
Nashville, Seattle. It's all the same.
Yeah.
American.
Won a game. Yeah.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
All right. Take it easy, everybody.